Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Formula 1 2020 My Career Mode with me, C1E, here. As we head into round 11 of the Formula 1 Championship, the Austrian Grand Prix, obviously we're going to be taking our Haas F1 car and obviously Michael Schumacher. Again, hopefully capitalising on our recent performances and recent strength. Although this track is a little bit shorter than the tracks we've raced on recently, has a few more corners on it than the tracks we've raced on recently. We'll see if it's as power dependent as some of the other tracks. As far as everything goes though, everything's looking good. I'm giving Daniel Ricciardo a good spanking in our rivalry, so that's going to be pretty nice to see when all is said and done. The Red Bull Ring. Well, obviously we had two races in this current actual real F1 season. To start the season off, we had back-to-back races at Austria, and I've just kicked my computer over and sorry for that noise. Anyway, went through free practice, didn't bother recording any free practice because obviously I've smashed the programs, got me research points. What really is important is qualifying and obviously the race. So we're going to see how we get on in qualifying today. Going to make sure obviously we change the engine, and for this particular race I'm actually going to use the second components all the way through. I'm not going to use the ICE energy store or control electronics from engine 1. I'm going to have a whole new unit 2 across the board and just start leaving units 1 for practice 1. Gearbox is fine. We've done 3 races in the with the gearbox and we've only got 29% wear on the race gearbox, so we'll be able to do quite a few more races with that particular one. You know, we might only need 3 gearboxes for the whole season at this rate. And we might not take any penalties. Obviously we've got a very cloudy, overcast qualifying. But we'll jump out on track. Track temperature 30 degrees, air temperature 21, so it's starting to get cooler. It's starting to cool down a little bit. I'm not sure if that's going to have too much of an impact on us. Again, here we go. Qualifying Q1, and this is only my second lap on the soft tyres. Because the only time I used the soft tyres in free practice was to do the qualifying pace program. Otherwise I was pretty much running hards and mediums the whole time, so don't have a lot of experience with how these tyres work with the car setup. Whoa! A little bit out of shape there. That's probably lost me quite a lot of time. Williams in the way. Why didn't he move over a lot sooner if he's on his outlap? Not that I'm particularly worried about this lap. This lap's pretty much a throwaway. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to be good enough to get through Q1 with this lap. So even though the fact I kind of made quite a big mistake into turn 3 and got held up by the Williams, it isn't going to stop me from actually posting the 6th fastest time in the session. Quite considerably faster than my teammate, who's down in 15th and only just made it into Q2. So, heading to Q2. Well, unfortunately, it has started to rain. We've got heavy rain falling in Q2, which means everybody is going to be qualifying on the intermediate tyres. So there goes any race strategy that I was planning in terms of what tyres do I qualify on, because everybody's going to be on the inters. So everybody's going to get free choice at the start of the race as to what tyres they start on. So it's a bit of a shame that the weather's done this, because it wasn't forecast. It was forecast to be cloudy, but it wasn't forecast to rain. One minute.
There's only one lap of fuel remaining.
That's okay. 105.906. So actually we went faster in that session on the inters than we did in the Q1 on the softs. I'm happy about that. Let's see what the weather's doing in Q3, shall we? Still raining. Right, we'll go out on the inters again then. Right, shot now. I'm trying to get on the pole. Let's see if I can take turn 3 a little bit better, shall we? Not quite. I've maybe slowed down too much there. But it's very easy to spin in that corner. And we're going to be hooked up through here because I've understeered through that corner nearly all the time. It's not a bad lap. Probably areas I could still improve on. It's just knowing how much grip you've got with these inters and whether you can actually push that a bit further. And like I've said in previous videos, the dynamic racing line is very bad because it's constantly telling you to slow down, and you can actually go a lot faster than that line.
It's time to remind ourselves of
But
our
somehow,
Bottas, Schumacher,
at the end of qualifying,
complete, all that
despite the fact that I was the number one time for most of the session, somehow, right at the very end of the session, Bottas has managed to set a time nearly a second faster than me. I don't get that. I don't know whether that's the little bug in the game when you are fast forwarding a session and skipping to the end of a session, that the AI somehow then end up setting an unbelievable, unrealistic, superhuman lap time, because that's certainly the case.
How do you think this team will be feeling after that result? Appreciate your time.
So, front row of the grid, second place, because Bottas setting a fake time. But, you know, we've beat Danny Rick again. This rivalry's not even close. We're going to be acclaim level 9, which is fantastic, because obviously after this race, we will be signing the new contract. So hopefully I'll be able to command a bit more money from the Haas team, which will be nice.
Well done.
Because obviously we could then buy a few more driver perks then, can't we, along the way. It'd be nice to earn a few more research points each week. Accrue slightly more research points would definitely be nice. But yes, we are heading into the race, folks. And hopefully it's not going to be wet. Hopefully it's going to be dry, and hopefully I will make a good start, as I seem to always do, and be able to nab the lead from Billy Bottas and see how it all pans out from there.
The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Now I want to talk to you about Carlos Sainz. They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when right off the bat you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and Schumacher completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Gasly, Ocon, Lando Norris, and Verstappen, Albon, Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Hamilton.
Wow, Lewis and Vettel well down the field.
Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, and Grosjean. Kvyat, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and George Russell. Latifi.
Charles Leclerc last.
Charles Leclerc completes today's grid order.
Fucking hell, bad session for Ferrari.
For today's race.
They really are having a horrid time at Austria.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Right, we are going to do a... are we doing soft to hard? Or shall we do soft to mediums? I'm looking at the pit strategy and I'm thinking personalised is probably better than default. Yeah, personalised strategy is going to give me soft to mediums. I would sooner do that. Do one stop onto mediums, because I would imagine most of the AI teams are going to pit for hards. So I would like to still be faster than them. And away we go. And again, we get away very well. The AI always seem to really wheel spin it. So it's easy to jump the AI at the race starts, as long as you don't wheel spin yourself, as long as you keep your revs under control. And then to say, just hammer that ERS and rich mix on the opening lap and try and pull a little bit of a gap
looking good so far.
to the cars behind you. Again, it's not ideal that I'm on the soft tyres. Obviously in normal conditions, in normal qualifying, I would have qualified on the mediums, which would be a much better tyre for me. The weird thing is, I never ever plan my car, because I do my car setup in practice one, where I'm running on hard and medium tyres. My car setup is tailored towards running on those tyres, and sometimes the soft tyres don't work with the car setup, especially with the ride height. If your ride height's quite low on hard tyres, when you put on the softs you tend to bottom out. You tend to have problems with the car bottoming out and the suspension being all weird and wrong. So, but I don't really want to spend a lot of time in practice one building a car setup around the soft tyres if I don't enjoy them anyway. But, you know, I've just got to put up with these tyres for what, 15 laps? The first 15 laps of the race, I think we agreed on. Then we'll one and only box for the mediums, which will still give me the compound advantage over the all the AI drivers.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up.
One other thing I'm going to try and do as well in this race, a bit differently from previous ones, is I'm not going to burn out my fuel right at the race start. I'm going to actually drop down to standard mix a lot sooner and keep some fuel in reserve then, to have that extra, like, maybe lap of fuel to deploy later on in the race. Because should I need to push later on in the race, it'll be nice to have the rich mix available, especially when I don't have ERS available. So yeah, standard mix on the engine now. Just going to conserve the fuel. We've built a little bit of a lead, as long as we keep Billy Bottas and that out of DRS range.
Fuel is looking really good. You're managing it well.
Right.
Gap to teammate behind is 10.8 seconds.
And if he does close up and get into DRS range, then we can always go back to using rich mix to pull a gap on him. I know people will say, well, now you're effectively running your car a lot heavier than the other teams because you've got that extra fuel on board that you're not burning through. But hey, one lap of extra fuel shouldn't make that much difference to the lap times. I doubt Codemasters have got the game coded that freaking awesomely. You know, I mean, bearing in mind we're a Haas car leading a Grand Prix, because the performance data that is in the game is completely incorrect and wrong. Because I don't know where they get the idea that the Ferraris are still the top team. And the top, I mean, if you look at the performance charts in the R&D tree, Mercedes ain't even got the best engine. You know, it's Ferrari, Red Bull, then the Mercedes. And that's bollocks. It's Mercedes, Honda, Renault, and then I would say Ferrari engine at the moment in terms of performance. But of course we don't get a performance. There's rumours that a performance update will come to the game in October. There's been rumours that that's when we'll get the update to nerf the teams and change all the stats of all the engines and cars and the drivers and stuff. Probably going to be too late by then. Because I certainly won't be starting over. I won't be restarting career mode to use the new data. Didn't slow the car down enough there. Braking for that corner is a nightmare. But honestly, I feel I would sooner run out wide there on that turn 3 than actually take the corner on the proper line, because if I take the corner on the proper line, I always seem to spin out of the corner. The rear end just completely swaps around on me. I don't know whether it's the elevation change in the corner because it's uphill or what, but even with the differential set quite high on the car, to lock obviously the drive wheels under throttle, I can spin so easily at the top of this hill, and it's rubbish. I don't get it. It's definitely not my favourite corner. And charge my batteries back up. Always hovering around 20 to 30%, 20%, 30% sort of range for any energy recovery system. Definitely struggle to get the battery charged back up by the end of the lap. You have about 40% coming onto the start and finish straight. Will then be in the 20% range by the end of this straight. And again, up the hill, if I elect to use it. Sometimes I don't use it.
Just focus on the driving.
Sometimes I don't use the ERS. Sometimes I do. I'll probably use it here because I messed up that corner. So I'll probably use it down this straight. If I don't use it up the hill, I'd probably use it down this straight. Instead, getting the ERS. Picking when and where to use it on the lap, and obviously when and where then you can obviously get your battery charge back up again. But Billy Bottas and Lewis Hamilton's done well to come up from where he was on the grid then. To get into third place. Man, those two Mercedes are quick round here. But Billy Bottas isn't making any headway. into
We're leading our teammate by 22.4 seconds.
into catching me. He's staying around the 3-second mark at the minute. Just a bit surprising, unless he's in the managing phase of the race. He's just managing it to the first pit stop till he can put on the hard tyres and push. I mean, I assume I'm boxing later than most of them. Because again, I went for the personalised strategy. And because I tend to be kinder on the tyres than the AI and tend to be better at keeping the wear down, I can generally run longer. So if I'm coming in lap 15, I'm expecting them to be pitting any time around now, I would have thought. Nice to see Lando though in 4th place currently. He hasn't really featured much this season, but it would be nice to see him be a bit more competitive. Certainly nice to see him ahead of Verstappen and the Ferraris. He's a long way behind the Mercedes boys though. Second lead to Billy Bottas. One of the rare times where I've actually managed to pull a gap. Not many races where I pull a gap over the cars behind. I usually wait for them, like I say, usually I get the gap by them boxing earlier than me. And that gives me the breathing room. And then they're on the slower tyres for a couple of laps, which allows me to get that little bit of a cushion. So when I make my pit stop, I'm able to keep my gap ahead of them. But I'm really impressed with the fact that I've managed to pull out 5 seconds on Billy Bottas in the Mercedes. Because I would have thought he'd have been swarming all over me. If qualifying was accurate and he was a second faster than me, which, like I say, I don't believe for a second he was. I believe that's that bug in the game when you're accelerating time and you get to the end of the session and it suddenly just creates like fantasy flipping lap times for some of the cars.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
Because there's no way on this performance Bottas was a second faster than me, because he's not showing it in the race. He's on the same tyres. He's got the lighter car. He's got the car with the best downforce and the least drag. So I don't understand why he's 5.5 seconds behind me. Unless I'm just really using my ERS well throughout each lap. Deploying it, charging it, deploying it, charging it. Although I'm not building up a massive reserve, and I don't have like, 70-80% to deploy on a lap, I'm always around the 40% mark.
The gap to the car behind is 5.6 seconds.
Hamilton's boxed, which is strange because you would have thought with his pit position he'd have been on harder tyres. He'd have maybe gone with a different strategy, but Hamilton's boxed. Vettel is now up into third, so Vettel all of a sudden has passed Norris and Verstappen. They must have had, have they stopped? They must have done pit stops, surely. because they're like 20 odd seconds behind. But no, they can't have done. Norris, Verstappen couldn't have boxed.
Okay, the safety car is out. The safety car is out. We need to form up at a reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive. A new strategy is available on the MFD. Some information on Leclerc. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Yeah, they've had a serious car issue because they've crashed into Pierre Gasly. And the annoying thing is that safety car triggered so late that I actually couldn't box. I wasn't quick enough. I didn't react quick enough.
Car. You're leading, so don't pass it. Stay behind the safety car.
So this is not good. This is not good for me because the other cars then behind me have all got free pit stops. And I'm stuck out on track. It's one of those times where the deployment of the safety car actually worked against me because I wasn't able to dive into the pits because I just was not
the car behind you is just
positioned.
Hard tires. Confirmed. We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
So it's not ideal me boxing this lap because everybody's going to come zooming up behind me. Look, Billy Bottas, he's 9 seconds behind me and closing, having pitted for the hard tyres. Everybody has behind me has boxed for hard tyres. So I'm going to come out in traffic basically. I'm going to come out having lost the lead, and I've got to do some overtaking now if I want to win this race. And we've never been good at catching cars normally. Catching them is not our strong point. But
complete, go now.
I know people are going to say, well, you know, this is the way it goes. You've had a lot of good fortune and a lot of luck in recent races with safety cars and stuff. Every so often it will work against you, and it's definitely gone against me today because I have lost 4 places because of the safety car, because of the timing of it. If it had deployed, you know, 5 seconds earlier, I probably could have reacted and pitted, but I wasn't quick enough on the reactions and with the awareness of where I was on track to make that decision. But the advantage I have got is I'm going to have plenty of fuel, so I can use rich mix because I already had that spare bit in the tank anyway that I've been saving, and I'm going to be on the quicker tyre. The mediums are going to be quicker than the hards, so I have that going for me as well. And let's also take comfort in the fact that I did manage to pull out a 5.7 second gap to Billy Bottas. So I was actually quicker than everybody on the softs in that first stint. So there is an indicator that I do have pace to actually race these guys. We just need the safety car to come in obviously as quickly as possible to give me enough laps. Try and get some overtaking done. We could be in for a spicy second half of the race, folks. We could be in for a very entertaining second half of the race where I actually have to do some racing and do some overtaking, which we don't really get to see a lot of. Because in the first half of the season, we was pretty much running at the back of the field, and then then once the upgrades came along and kicked in, we've pretty much been running at the front of the
Safety car is
field.
in this lap. Safety
There's
car
been no
in
kind
this
of
lap.
in between.
Let's make sure those tyres are up to temperature, and remember, there is no overtaking until the timing line. Stay in position until the green flags.
Right, so safety car is in this lap. We need to make sure we don't get caught napping. We're right on Vettel's gearbox, and we're ready to launch an attack down the start and finish straight with everything. We need to make sure we're rich mix, ERS, the whole shebang. So let's get up, let's get in there. Go, go, go. There's a lot of smoke there, and oh, Billy Bottas has blown up. That was unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Billy Bottas has suffered an engine failure on the restart. And unfortunately for me, he kind of pulled into my path as I was looking to obviously make the overtake on Vettel. I ended up having a slowing Mercedes in front of me. But yeah, Billy Bottas, another DNF for Billy Bottas. I'll tell you what, Mercedes going to be kicking themselves. Really are. And of course, for me, you know, I've already committed to the fact that I am going to re-sign with Haas. I've decided, you know, they give me the drive this first season in Formula 1. I'm going to stay with the Haas team and obviously finish the season with Haas. But I tell you what, if I was going to enter into negotiations with other teams, you've got to think Mercedes would be looking to sign Schumacher to replace Bottas, because Bottas just isn't doing it. Bottas is...
Be aware, there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
Bottas has he's failed to finish more races than he's actually finished at this point, and I've really not doing a good job there of sticking with the Ferrari, and I'm actually inviting the Red Bull to try and overtake me. I'm going to start using I'm going to start comboing. I've got the rich mix, but I'm going to use the rich mix on the straights and then go back to standard through the slow parts of the lap. I'm not going to use rich mix for the whole lap. I'm only going to use it in the real accelerated parts of the circuit, along with ERS to give me that double boost, because I need to get onto the back of the Ferraris. I can't let Vettel and Lewis get away from me. I need to get into that DRS range.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
I need to stay close to them, and then if I get DRS, then we can start to think about launching some overtakes. So probably for the first time in my Formula 1 career, I'm going to be using the rich mix. I'm going to be changing engine modes throughout the lap, using rich mix like now, and then dropping it back during the slower parts of the circuit to try and help me catch these big teams, the Works Ferrari and obviously the Mercedes. Despite the fact that both me and Vettel have the same engine in our cars, you would think, again, Vettel, ideally the Ferrari should have the aero and chassis package, but we know that's not the case in real life. But we obviously don't know how the AI teams are spending their upgrades, their research points, and how they're developing stuff for their cars. From all the penalties, grid penalties we see, I don't think the AI spend a lot on durability upgrades. I would say. Done him. Oh, no I haven't. Kind of outbroke myself a bit there. Couldn't slow the car down, and Vettel just ended up taking the inside line again. big super punch, you see. I'm not used to having to overtake cars. And they always make me nervous because they do move around in the braking zone. Like Vettel there had a little move. He moved to the middle of the track, and then as I decided to go down the inside, he moved a little bit again, which is that's naughty. He kind of moves to the middle of the track to block you. Oh, Verstappen's having a look. I tell you what, Hamilton's checking out up front. We've got to get Vettel quick, because otherwise Hamilton's just going to be like gone. He's already 3 seconds ahead. So we're going to throw this up into Rich Mix in a minute, and then we're going to slap on the old ERS again. I have got DRS actually this time. That'll help me close up on him. And we're going to have DRS obviously down here. So actually I'm not using Rich Mix at this moment in time. I'm using ERS and DRS as a combo. So I'm saving the Rich Mix fuel. Now I'm using Rich Mix. So now I've got all three. I've got DRS, ERS and Rich Mix to close in on Vettel. Vettel is getting no boost at all off of Hamilton because he's out of Hamilton's DRS range.
Engine modes are available.
Yeah, I know faster engine modes are available, Jeff, but I'm trying to use it in controlled bursts. I don't just want to be running flat out the whole lap on Rich Mix, because there's certain parts of the track where I won't need it, like here. Because we've got the ERS and DRS down the start and finish straight, I can save the... and then I can use Rich Mix up the hill to give me that extra boost. And I'm going to have a lunge. I'm going to send it on Vettel. Overtake done. From a long way back. That was Danny Rick's style, that was. Back in Danny Rick's Red Bull days. Because you got to admit, I kind of agree with what Lando said the other weekend, that Danny Rick hasn't really done any great overtakes since he left Red Bull. Because, you know, everyone looks good in a Red Bull, he says. So since he's been at Renault, he's not done any overtaking. You know what, I'm starting to get racy now. I'm closing up, try and close down Lewis, who's got 2.5 seconds. So again, just using Rich Mix where I can. And drop it down to standard where I need to. And obviously try and save a little bit of, try and charge the battery back up at this moment in time. Now we're not chasing Vettel. Good thing is we've got plenty of laps. We've got 11 laps ahead of us, so I have time. Just close in on Lewis. And obviously he's got to be feeling a little bit of pressure, because with his teammate blowing his engine to bits, there's got to be a bit of a worry that the same reliability could affect him. He's got the same engine under him. So is there a risk that Lewis could also suffer some engine issues in this race? Because, to be fair to Bottas, hadn't been running in anybody's dirty air all race. So it wasn't like he'd overheated his engine or anything. And we just had, you know, a couple of laps behind the safety car, where hopefully you would think he'd have turned everything down. So to blow the engine right on the restart was quite a rare thing. You don't normally see cars blow up on the restart. I tell you what, we're setting the fastest lap, and we've managed to get the time down to about 2 seconds. It was very briefly.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
At one point there, it was at 1.9 seconds, the gap. So I am reeling Lewis in. 1.7 seconds, so yeah. The gap is coming down. Which is great, because I do need to get on with this now a bit. It's a shame we don't have the graphics like they do on TV, like the time to attack. Where they give you like the little delta of how long it thinks it'll be before you're, how many laps it'll be before you're close to attacking him and launching an overtake. I love it when they put that graphic up, and then they give you the percentage. They give you like a percentage of how likely the overtake is going to be.
That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up.
I suppose we'll get that in next year's Formula 1 game, won't we? We'll get that in F1 2021. Because they usually bring the graphics over. Be nice to see some of the graphics on the, like these on TV that they put on the Halo. Be nice to see some of that in the game. Make use of that real estate. You know what, we're soon going to have DRS here, because we're nearly at a second. We're nearly in DRS range. Maybe next lap. Not quite close enough. Again, just ever so slightly still outside DRS. Six laps to go. Whoa, caught that. That was nearly a spin. That was that back end stepping out up the hill that I talked about. And that's going to give Lewis a bit of a breathing room. Although he seems to be going very slowly. Because I am going to be DRS window on the end of the lap. I thought I was. Gap's just gone back up. He's a little bit quicker in that last sector than me. I think I close up to him here, actually. Because I seem to be a bit hotter on the brakes, maybe. And hopefully we'll be nice and quick down here. Now we've just got to be a bit closer to him through this last sector. Can't let him pull the gap on us again. We've got to 7/10. Trying to pull that. He's trying to get out of the DRS again. He's trying to get back to a second. I don't think he's managed to do it. So we've got ERS. We've got DRS as well down this straight.
But be aware your tyres need to go the distance.
4 laps to go. And we are in the DRS zone. So let's use all the toys. Scenario 7. Ooh, bit deep in there. Come on.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Let's get on this. Come on. DRS again. Not using any ERS or rich mix down here. Just using the DRS. I'm using a little bit of battery this time, but I'm not using any fuel. Need to pick. I haven't got much fuel over at the minute, so I need to pick where I'm going to use the rich mix, like down here. Got you, Lewis. Got you. Got you. Got him. Let's see. Can we keep Lewis behind us now? Is he going to have a charge? Is he going to try and come back at us? Oh, he's going to have a run. He's got DRS down here. Did he just hit us? Did he just go into the back of me? I think he did. I think he's done his front wing, because he's losing loads of time. I think Lewis has just crocked himself. He's lost nearly a second on that lap. He's over 2 seconds behind me. Yeah, he's pitting. Yeah, I figured it. I figured he ran into me there at turn 3. I think he was swarming around. I think he just outbroke himself and ended up giving me a bit of a bump, which never does you any damage. A car drives into the back of you, you're perfectly fine. You're not going to have any issues. The car behind you, he's going to be in a world of pain. It's like, for some weird reason in these in these Codemasters Formula 1 games, only the front of a Formula 1 car can take damage. The rear doesn't. If you get hit from behind, you're fine. Completely unrealistic and not true to real life, but that's how it is in the game. I would much sooner the AI run into the back of me than me run into the back of an AI, because if I run into an AI, I'm going to have a new front wing and everything. I'm going to lose a front wheel potentially.
This is your final lap of the race.
So
you've lost some time to the car behind.
That's because I'm running in lean mix, Jeff. I'm saving the engine now, Jeff, because we've got this race victory in the bag. Despite the safety car trying to throw a spanner in the works and trying to catch me out, I've recovered very well. I've done 2 overtakes on 2 world champions in Vettel and Hamilton to take the victory. So, for people who say I can't race and can't overtake anybody, there you go. There's 2 overtakes I've done today. So, another victory. Some more good points for Haas F1. As we now look and set our sights on the British Grand Prix in a couple of weeks. Where obviously I'll also be celebrating the fact that I'll have signed my new contract. And I'll have more money. I'll be starting to get paid that Roman Grosjean salary.
That's it then for another spectacular Grand Prix here at Austria. And a truly magnificent drive to hang on and take the win.
Or at least I hope to be earning that Roman Grosjean kind of cash.
What do you think
based
it was,
on
Ant, that gave them the
my
edge
performance
over the
compared to him.
today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Well, I don't know about that, Anthony, because literally I boxed as early as I could, bearing in mind that the safety car came out right as I was coming to the end of the lap, which meant I actually had to do an extra lap because I kind of missed being able to come into the pits when everybody else did. So actually, the safety car could have actually really messed up my race. It could have actually screwed up the results. But fortunately, I had the car that when I came out of the pits, I was actually able to do the overtakes. Of course, it was helped by Billy Bottas blowing up his Mercedes on the restart. That was one less car I had to overtake, but I still had to hunt down and pass Vettel and Hamilton.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the driver's
you know, good results for me. Nice to see Norris and Sainz picking up good points as well.
Who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Sebastian Vettel would definitely be my first choice. He showed up a lot of the drivers out on the track today, and
obviously we had Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc crashing,
make it to the top of the table.
And then we had Bottas blowing up.
Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship.
And on the pit stop from,
that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing.
We know Lewis had to box for a front wing, so I was the guy that boxed the latest. I was the last of the guys who pitted. I pitted obviously the lap after the safety car deployed. Everyone else got that cheap free pit stop. But Lewis obviously at the end there, a bit overzealous, heading into turn 3, drove into the back of me, cost him. As obviously Billy Bottas also paid the cost of failing to finish yet another race for Mercedes. Like I say, if I wasn't committed to the fact that I've already said I'm going to stay with this team, I might have been looking for that second Mercedes seat. Hamilton and Schumacher side by side in the same team, that would be some lineup, wouldn't it? But would I want to be number 2? Would I still want to be number 2?
It's contract renewal time, so think about if this is where you still want to be. We can try and negotiate a better deal here, but we also have the chance to look elsewhere.
No, we are staying here, I believe. Our car is currently sort of fifth in the table on performance, but apparently my market value is only 4 million.
Any extra over your base salary will go into your perk fund.
Really?
The more you demand, the lower the chances of our success. Do make sure that you don't go demanding anything unrealistic for your acclaim level. If you do, the team might refuse to negotiate any more with you in this negotiation period.
I'm a bit surprised, because that's, if I'm only valued at 4 million, that's still 2 million less than Roman. And I'm definitely a better driver than Roman Grosjean. I deserve to be paid more than him. Let's try for it. Let's try and get 4.37 million. Shall we? And they've bought it. Which gives me a 420k perk fund. Right, let's spend some points then. Let's get development feedback. An extra 10% of resource points. Works out at about an extra 100 points per weekend then. Race weekend. Or practice session, should I say. Better than a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. 100 points though isn't going to buy any upgrades. But, you know, there we go. Got an invitational event coming up. I'm really not a big fan of these races, but I'm going to do it. It's 1,000 points. It's 1,000 acclaim points. So might as well go and try and finish off the... do the 3 laps in the time specified. Got it very close though, because this car handles like garbage. But I managed to pass the test with 7 seconds to spare, which is nice. On the Japanese short track. So that'll give me an extra free 1,000 acclaim points. As you can see, the podium pass is back. The new season of podium pass is here. And sadly for me, all the points I was getting at the end of last season, between the end of last season and this season, have just disappeared into thin air. They didn't carry over. You didn't get to start with those points that you was making once you reached the level cap, if you like, of the first season. So I'm a bit disappointed that I'm not going to get everything unlocked really quickly this time round. But there we go. Team Invitational is done. British Grand Prix is coming up next, which obviously is very exciting for me because that's obviously my home circuit in real life. And obviously it'd be nice to see if Michael Schumacher and Haas can get a good result there too. So be sure to come back and join me for the British Grand Prix in the next video, folks. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.